YoYo's Room. Just haven't finished Alan Wake. Today we are playing something different called the Stanley Parable. I've kind of seen little gameplays of this online. I don't really know what to expect with this. I know that it's supposed to be like trippy and supposed to be like a mind freak. But let's get into it. Let's see what's up. Let's go. Have you played Stanley Parable before? No, I am brand spanking new. Please adjust the slider until the computer is barely visible. I always just kind of do it this way. I like it bright. Enter the current time. As of now, it is yeah. If you're tuning in, that's what time it is for me. Right. Accessibility settings can be accessed from the main menu. Okay, all the general warnings. I have never played this. I've only seen it a couple of times. So this is like a dry reaction. This was like one of the games that I got from my PlayStation. Like, you know, they do the little PlayStation game thing. I like how it's watching me as it's watching me. Like, look at the computer in the background and showing the same thing. Showing me everything I need to know. Let me know now. The end is never the end. Is never the end. Is never the loading. The end is loading. Oh, that's trippy. Nah, bruh.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Okay.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
So why is he plotting on leaving?
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation.
Hey,
Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with the first ending. We're gonna step out the office. Boom. What's going on? I can interact with stuff. Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay. Let's go to the meeting room. Is it this way? Okay. 424. Y'all just numbers in the machine for real. What is back there? Nope. Look. I'm not gonna look at nothing crazy right now. Just go where it's telling me. look like I got kidnapped.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
This is creepy, yo. Like, what? What is this? Door's just closing behind me and locking? No, this is a simulation, guys. Okay. This is the Matrix. This is what Mr. Anderson had to break out of.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Nah, I was trying to read that. That joint said, use slides to assure that the player is okay. To assure that everything's good. Nah, cuz. That's not cool. Don't do me like that. Boss appreciation worksheet. Fill out trip jump. Y'all bug. What are your future dreams? Success, nature, all these good trigger words. What is this? Using slides to assure employees that everything is okay. Make sure your slides, your header, throw some bevel on text to ensure a calm, productive work environment. You know what that is, how they be doing it when they doing orientations at work. Alright, let's go ahead and see what's up. What's going here? See, look, doors closing behind me. Nope, I don't like that. Yeah, the broom closet.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
See, look. Nah, what y'all trying to do?
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Okay, let's go to the boss. It's all white. There's no outside. Dang, where are we going? Which way I'm going? To be rich, is it a crime? To commit crimes, isn't it rich? What a life it would be to have to pick just one. Wow, so being rich is a crime. To commit crimes, isn't it rich? Y'all, wow. Extreme bathrooms. This is a nice bathroom, I'm not gonna hold you. I would come in here just to take a dump. On company time, I'm not gonna hold you. Boy, what's going on here? Alright. So, none in there. The door's locked.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him?
Not for
What he
real.
could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him, and so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing.
Okay.
He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Nah, it got them caution signs. It got them caution signs. I don't like that. Nah, cuz. It's the back rooms. Nah, this that SCP stuff. Nope. See, look, this is where Stanley would turn the look back around and go back to his desk and act like he didn't see shit. So I'm not gonna hold you again. This is where Stanley would go back to his room like he didn't see nothing. But of course, we can't have that. So now we gotta go in there and see. What we can do. See how this is gonna get us anywhere. Big red button. So here in the dark corner. God. Dark element. Stanley's a little too curious. This is too scary. Loading, loading, loading.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Alright. So what's going on? Not the way it closed. Okay.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Nah, cuz see, I'd have walked away. We got the option. Escape. Or go to the mind control facility. Now, Stefan would hit the escape route real fast and would dip out not knowing nothing. But I said on the first playthrough, we gonna do what the voice in our head told us to do. So let's go to the mind control facility. Oh, I would not be as curious in real life. I'd have just be like, oh, ain't nobody here. I guess we closed. I'm going home, cuz. This is creepy. Why do they have this here? What is this? Hit the big button.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Mind control devices. What's going on here?
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
I mean, that sounds like a job, cuz. There's 596 in all. That's what we know for sure. Because it says that start and it goes all the way around. Alright. I'd have just turned up like, hey man, my resignation right here. Look.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
I miscounted. It was 601. But 601 got fired. Hey, can we... I swear I would be hitting the dash to get over this door. I would swing around this bitch so fast. Thank God for my athleticism. Thank God that I worked out. Working out is why I'm so confident that I can talk shit.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Now, what is that on the floor? Can y'all take me back down?
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
I guess I'm turning this off. Guess I'm turning this bunkus off. Facility power is over there. Okay. One, two. Mind control idle awaiting input. Okay.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Okay. Is that it?
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp?
Hey, that's not
What
my
other
turn.
mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him.
Not
For
for
it
real.
was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel.
Good job.
Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
I sure did. Look, hey, I was mind controlling people. I'm not here
Stanley
no more.
felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen.
Facts.
And
Let
Stanley
me go home.
was happy.
I don't care about none of that. Beat the game. Get your first trophy. Alright, well, that's the first ending. He'll be back in office, 427.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Alright, let's go through the thing all together. Now we know what to expect. We know what to look at.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
On his left.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Dang, I was trying not to get fired. How to solve it. Let it ball up inside you. Take it out passive aggressively on other coworkers. Present coworkers for not supporting you more. Wow. Use slides to assure employees that everything is okay. This really feels like an office job, yo. Everyone is unique, you most of all. But if everyone is unique, nobody is. Like, dude, what's going on? Rate at which charts on the same slide is the same information. Rates of increasing gaps per slide. Beg it, please, no more charts. Beg it. The boss on your boss appreciation minute. Circle the top 20 things you love most about your boss. Wow. Now I go back to that other stuff. Solving interpersonal conflict. If you find yourself in a conflict with a diligent worker like yourself, but more inclined towards conflict, why did we hire you? Plant life, a boat, future, amorphosis. Yo, this stuff is changing, getting crazy. Getting fired. Do honorably, no expectation of promotion or recognition. Don't get fired. That's how you don't get fired. Just don't get fired. If you're not supporting you more, let it ball up inside you. This is most certainly about depression. A calm, productive working environment. Like, everyone is unique, you most of all. Alright, let's go.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
2845.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
This is disturbing.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Let's go. Let's get to it.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Do we got a choice?
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
104 got fired. 601 and 104 got fired. Just keeping tracks in case any of it matters later.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Okay.
But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all. Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count. Or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever after.
Bro. I tried. Bro. 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 No. I'm looking it up. I'm sorry. Wow. There really is no way out of that. I was like, no, not with all them buttons. It gotta be something. It gotta be something. I was like, nah. We going back in. Cause you're not gonna do that to me.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
We just gonna go ahead and go straight through it. We know what's up.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Y'all be trying to have people set up to spaz out. Nah, bruh. Towards conflict unless you're the kind of person who initiates conflict. Why do we hire you? Whenever that takes 2 people to start the fight, and right now you're in it. Metamorphosis, y'all bugging.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
So the boss's office. Let's go. 2845.
The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere. Could he really be? Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk.
You know what
That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
Oh, get out of here, Bro, stop it.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Games with my life, bro. He really said, I'm finna sit here and watch you struggle. Let's go.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
I don't believe. Well, look, you got no reason to lie to me.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Nah,
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
the end is loading. And it's really making me watch.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Wow.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Whoa. What? What? I thought, wait. I mean, thank you, but... The Stanley Parable.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
Not for real. Like...
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Button sounds. A selection of sounds used throughout the game when buttons are pressed. Each sound is a mix of keyboard stroke and a synthesized tone. It's a whole museum, cuz. The two doors. The set of the two doors was at the very concrete piece Stanley Parable's design. Once the room was created, the rest of the game emerged as an extension of it. The exploration of the contradiction this room posed. Damn, God. What's going on over here? Corridor. The pacing of this open section was important to get right. This corridor has been moved and altered to make sure the player reaches the two doors in a good time. Okay. Okay, so they're giving me like a little Stanley's computer. How people be good at their job, be typing. Office layout. This blueprint shows the office from the beginning of the game. The path from Stanley's office to the two doors was the first part of the game that was built. Sections have been added and altered throughout development due to core layout remains almost identical to the first iteration. Nature paintings. So these are all the paintings that you would see in the game. Okay, I kind of like what this game is doing, taking you through all this stuff. It's pretty cool. I do like how credits. They're giving you the illusion of choice. This is freaking awesome. I feel like this is like and the impeccable Kevin Brighton as the narrator. Yo, you was mean, bro. You are mean as a narrator. I like that this is a social piece for people who overthink. I'm not gonna lie to you. The Office. The Office. I'm gonna go this way. Let's see what this has for me. She said I was dead at the beginning. The maintenance room. A very early version of the maintenance room. The Office. Warzone. Early in development, we designed an ending where Stanley would end up on a battlefield fighting aliens. I would have loved that. I'm gonna be real with you. I would have loved that. The action game would become sentient and would wage war against the narrator. I would have loved that. We realized shortly after starting to build it, it was far too jokey and on the nose for the tone of the game. Plus, some people interpreted it as making fun of people who like shooters, which was not our intention. No, bro! I would have loved that. No, listen, especially after what just happened in there. Hold on, give me a sec. I was just making sure there was no more sour cream and cheddar ones. This game is so much fun. Oh, y'all. Mm-hmm. There is anger in my body right now, y'all. But yeah, nah. Especially after that getting blown up thing. Like, dead serious. If I had the option to fight against the narrator, like right after he blew me up, I swear to you, all for that. All for it. I'd have been here. I'd have been like, yo, after you done blew me up and you done tell me how my life going, you think you finna come to me? Nah. You're not gonna just tell me there's no way out of a room that's about to blow up. Nah, bruh. Come get these hands! Oh. Mm. I'm just saying, I would have loved it. Ultra Deluxe announcement. In December 2018. And we playing this in 2025. What's up with it? We announced the Ultra Deluxe version of the Stanley Parable at the Game Awards. These are the screenshots of the videos we made for the announcement and the game's delay. Yo, this game came out in, I think, 2015, and it was a smash. Like, I remember watching Dashy. Shout out to Dashy XP. Like, that was my first ever gaming channel that I ever watched, ever. The narrator emails. After the second trailer, we set out and we asked people After the second trailer we sent out, we asked people to email the narrator for questions. While we had initially planned for to use these further promotional material, we never found the perfect use for them. Here are the selections from those emails. That's cool. I don't know what. That is brilliant. After the second trailer we sent out. Will the Stanley Parable have infinite quests? How many endings? If the Stanley Parable is really good. Shopping. Okay. How do you make a JRPG? How do you make the worst game ever? What's the difference between a duck? What? How's the game going? I hope it's good or better than the first one from a cool man. Okay. Are you a rock? Dog. Some of y'all be on games. Between the number 1112800. Well, the thing is, I want to know is, what would you do if Stanley entered any other rooms? That's a good question, because I saw some stuff at her. I have a burning question. For instance, on the scale of Max Ernst to Salvador Dali, how surreal will this game be? Getting philosophical. Congratulations. Wow, in line with previous announcements regarding the promotional results, congratulations. First to apply for the claim, 24 hours. You didn't hear from them on the phone. The announcer. I wanted to tell you I like Stanley Parable as much as I like seeing in swim trunks. What? Dang, $24 million. Hey, us. Dead strong bad. How do you type with boxing gloves on? What? What? What do the lights in the control room do? I really want to know. Okay. Let's go over here. The lounge. The cargo lift. What this is? The apartment timer. Previous version of the game give you 15 seconds to pick up the phone. A different ending. Huh? This is so cool. This is like a whole in-depth thing for the game. Zending levers. These levers were originally a part of the Zending. The player would pull a lever and the narrator would describe what color they had pulled. For a long time we had it only ended when the player restarted in the escape room menu. Unfortunately, very few players realized this was what they were supposed to do, which was frustrating for everyone. Look, you made a mysterious game, bro. Hey man, look, this is y'all. This is y'all, man. A freedom ending as it exists in countdown desk.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
And then I
Can you
flipped that
see?
switch.
Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Turn off your PlayStation. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Well, I couldn't, turn the PlayStation off. That would have ended the stream. Wait. Hold on.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I'm gonna go this way.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Yes, it is really worth it. Don't tell me how to play the game, fool.
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left.
Oh, you Jonah? First of all, you in disembodied voice. You don't got a face. You don't get to tell me how I look, fool. That's number
Stanley
one.
sat around waiting for more dialogue. But when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
But you're still talking. Like, you're still talking. What am I supposed to do? Come on, narrator. Come on, Kevin Brightening. Wait. Coffee nut. Y'all nut.
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Okay. Let me go back this way, though. Dang. He knew.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office,
went the other
hoping
way.
he might find an answer there.
Somebody gotta do something.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Huh?
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Just gonna have me screaming and then run?
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
What the...
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this
Why am I
particular
on the
day,
ground?
her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And
What?
although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew.
What?
Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal.
Okay.
I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body.
Wow.
And then she turned and ran.
I did. Wait. Wait a minute. Wait a second. Hold on. Hold on. What? Yo. What? What was that? Yo.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Alright, let's go.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Don't matter.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Shut up, girl.
Wow. Yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
No, I didn't. What was that?
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
F you too. Where is this? Do not jump from the cargo lift while it is in motion. It causes, yeah. Penalty issues for that. Jumping off. You just said don't jump off this because it will cause, yeah, and then the penalty if I survive is, oh, yeah, so I'm just not gonna do that. We not even gonna play with that. Doors closing behind me.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Who's her? Who are you talking about? You better not have my wife. You said I had a wife earlier, huh? You said I had a wife earlier, huh? What you talking about? Oh.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Okay. What's about to happen? What you about to do? Who I'm about to talk to? My mama?
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Oh.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife?
Yes.
Who want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
That was hurtful, bro. That's hurtful. This is a nice apartment.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley. Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Oven, you know what I'm saying? Chill, watch TV, you know what I'm saying?
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
What are you talking about? So you're not letting me choose nothing else?
But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Hold up, there was a couch right here, cuz.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
What?
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end. That he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
This is creepy.
But there is no answer.
Young.
How could there possibly be?
No.
In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself.
Bro.
But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Okay. I'm not gonna press the button. I'm just gonna sit here. How y'all doing? How y'all day is? What's good with y'all? How y'all been? gonna sit here like this. This is stream, I guess. This is funny. I'm trying to keep the dialogue going, but I'm gonna be real with y'all. I don't know what to say here. They told me not to press a button. I'm not pressing it. Are they really gonna make me sit here? Like, for real? Like, you told me not to press the button. I didn't press it. What you want me to do? This is a compromising position. Like, you took my whole apartment from me, bruh. I guess we don't really got a choice. So we gotta go through it. Let's go.
You see? Can he just not hear me?
Dude.
How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Dog. I stood there for the longest. Like, I stood there for the longest. I didn't press no buttons. Like,
I suppose I can't. Not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
That's hurtful. Why? Wow. That's hurtful. That's crazy. The end is loading. Like, that's hurtful.
I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing?
That's not what you said at first, bruh. This door say new content. I'm gonna go ahead and
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
What's about to happen here? What's going on in here? The end is never. What's in here? Doors.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh!
As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers.
Whoa!
After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over.
Oh, wow, bro.
Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Nah, for real, what's going on? What y'all about to do?
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure. Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Let's go.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if the... Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
Nah, for real, I'm trying to see what's going on.
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
New content. This is one of them games where they give you new content to hype it up and drive the price up and it be bull. The jump circle. Okay.
Is that it?
Not for real.
Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
I'm so happy I didn't.
Goodness, another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Games be selling you games for like a certain price, but then they come back with like a different deluxe or like a different edition, like 2K for example. They sell the regular 2K that just got all the basic stuff, the basic and the basic, and then they get these deluxe editions, these superstar editions, all that crap to make it sound fancy. And it's a bunch of stuff that ain't really that different from the base.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's trophies, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test trophy, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
See, but nah, I like the point that game makes. Like, games be giving you regular games and then try to sell you all these DLC packs and stuff at the end, and it just be stuff that y'all could have just included in the game because y'all gonna release it for free after like a year or so anyway. After y'all done made it so cheap, it just comes with it, or you're gonna find a way to integrate it like I did with Xenoverse. What's going on here? What's going on here?
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something!
Okay. What's going on? Go with you.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Okay. This is me playing the game years later. Like, this ain't even nothing. This is after they done added in a bunch of new stuff. All after the fact. After they done made the jokes. What's going on?
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
So this is what it was like on PC? Only reason I don't game on PC is because I'm lazy. The Memory Zone.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap PlayStation port? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
When it had to be on PC or nothing. PC people are the original gamers, if I'm not mistaken. It all started with Minesweeper and Solitaire and the little pinball game. Unless I'm wrong. Stanley Parable. Good times. People, wow, there's a dedicated fan base to this that talks about how it used to be. Wow, this is amazing. Our First Kiss, My First Car, the release of the Stanley Parable in 2013. "2013 was a much different time than it is now, yo. I'm telling you. 2013 is different than now. The original remake. Buy pressurized gas. Buy on pressurized gas. Or download the demo free. Watch on YouTube what everyone's saying. Horrific. Wow. Smile because it happened. A trip down memory lane. They got their first dollar on the board like Mr. Krabs. It is impossible to get this achievement. play for 5 years. 5 years? So you mean to tell me you mean to tell me that in order to get this achievement, I gotta put this game down and just have it on my PlayStation for 5 years? I've probably moved on to another system by then. I'm gonna have to bookmark this and then remember to come back. Bro, I got a life. I ain't got time for this shit. New video game releasing today. Surprisingly, down to earth. Rutgers goes from scandal to new crisis. Colleges show uneven effort to enroll. We not. Oh, in 2013. Steph in 2013 would have knew. Cost hinder new. Look what it says right here. Business leaders pushing election on council allies. Colleges show uneven effort to enroll poor. Cost hinder new tack to achieve diversity. Good gracious. Stanley Parable deals tough choices. Whew. This game really is something different. This all look like in loving memory of Lil Stanley. I can't see who's that. Who's that? Oh, is that a pig? Is that a dog? Is that a little? This is a little pet of some sort. I can't really see it. Yo, this is beautiful.
Je suis dans la mémoire.
Not the song in the background.
Sur la pluie de l'eau, et je n'attends plus que toi, mon
2012
amour.
Interaction Award. Design Museum Design.
C'est là, dans la mémoire, où je me remémore
And
les
over
jours.
here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Let me read this first. Don't read any reviews except this one. How do you review a game like the Stanley Parable? To describe any one part of it is to risk its ruination. To detail what it has to say about game design. To detail what it has to say about game design, the illusion of choice, and the psychology of the gamer is to tell you too much. Comparisons, too, are going to be woefully inadequate. Perhaps its closest cousin would be Dear Esther, but where Dear Esther wastes the form of interactive entertainment, Stanley Parable uses and then subverts it, where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art. Stanley Parable strives, then succeeds to be every game ever created. Even so, holding the games to the standards of any other title is simply not going to be correct. How do you review? So how do you review the game like Stanley Parable HD, the full-scale reimagining, one of the most intriguing mods available online? How do you discuss it, analyze, and recommend it? It's quite simple. You don't. Let me... Hold on. let me see something real quick. No, they're not kidding. They loved this. People are not kidding. I just looked it up. That's a real thing. People really did look this up. Memory zone maintenance. Person of the year. That's probably Stanley. Bro.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. All they had to do was transport it in pristine condition along to the PlayStation. Boom, done. And they couldn't even do that. Couldn't resist the urge to go meddling with a beloved franchise.
7 out of 5. Like, a lot of people really like this game. It feels alive in its responsiveness to your choices and its desire to subvert your expectations and keep you on your toes. Yeah, like that's what I've read with that little thing that I looked up, which gently mocked the ways in which so many films manipulate audiences with formulaic plot twists and situations in which characters learn huge life lessons while simultaneously moving me with its formulaic plot twists, which characters okay, so I wasn't tripping. Stanley Parable. When all gaming was on PC still.
These were simpler times, Stanley.
Nah,
But I wouldn't give to go back to have it all over again.
I know.
Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
Why is it turning red? What is going on? What is going on? Nah. I recognize this. This is about zombie. Every zombie game look like this. I swear to God, they do.
Oh no, oh God, no, Stanley. It's a collection of reviews from Pressurized Gas, the extremely popular online storefront for computer games. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Pressurized gas. Why does it look like a horror survival game, though? Oh, they gave y'all a bad review. Y'all talking about them now.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
It looks like dying daylight out here. A pressurized gas was on y'all. And so pressurized gas was on y'all bumper, and dang, like the game they said it was not funny.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
But I do like the way that they do this. Like, Stanley Parable, this is way... At first we started off in an office. This is way bigger than what I thought it would be. This is... It's kind of nice. It's kind of jazz. I like that.
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this.
So this is the game.
The story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, until the end of time, at which time, everything all at once, so, now you see, blah, 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 blah. We've eaten too much, and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. But the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say,
the story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah, 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, no, until 240.
Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly, and you can tell me what you think. Okay, so my theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are, or were, or will be at the time of having made said choice. That is to say, if by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being, then by making no choice and saying nothing, are you not simply erecting in the sanctuary of time a monument to every person you've ever been, making every choice to which you've ever given your great gift of mortal and yet timeless thought? Or rather, do all of the choices you've ever made, in fact, make you more not this kind of person, and in fact do the very opposite? You see, it could in fact be both of these things at once, that you are both making choices and not making choices, and that they are both affecting you and not affecting you at the same time by virtue of the fact that you both are and are not making them. Okay, at first, I was leaning towards manifesto, but now I'm going to circle around and slap the treatise label on this one. I think it has much more of a treatise vibe to it. But wouldn't you say that manifesto just has a much grander sort of tone? It has a mouthfeel that is rich with ambition and history. Ambitious history, if you will. Ah. See, now you've gotten me going back to manifesto. Heavens, at this rate, we're going to be here all day. Okay, look, I have a method for exactly this sort of situation, and I do find myself in this situation frequently. I'm going to say each word back and forth in repeated succession until I become sick of one or the other, in which case the word I am not sick of shall be the victor. It is an unimpeachable strategy, Stanley. It's rescued me from disaster in countless situations. All right, here we go. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise. Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go, poof, and it's all over. I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their pressurized gas review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated on how exactly pressurized gas works. Perhaps that would have been a smart thing to check on before I went on about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing this exciting new technology at work, surely whoever it is who runs pressurized gas will instantly run out and implement a new feature to make it possible to edit one's review merely because of this very situation. Yes, I think that's quite likely. Or perhaps they'll simply grant this particular user the ability to change their review so that the feature is not widely abused. Look, I would even be okay with pressurized gas altering this particular review so that it reads as something more beneficial. Something along the lines of, this game is the best game. Let me start over. How about this? From the ashes of depravity rises the phoenix of quality.
You finally shut up?
Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it and just... Wait, how do we get out of here? Where did the door go? Wasn't there a door that led into this room? I do feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some sort, or a window or something like that. Do you see a window anywhere? A porthole? A sufficiently large crack in the wall? I'll take any of these. All I want is for us to move on and to please step away from the skip button, to go anywhere other than the skip button. There was a door here before, wasn't there? I swear there was. Where did it go? Can you maybe just ram your way through a wall? Is there any possibility that you could, say, slam your body into the wall until enough damage is done for you to be able to leave? Please, I'll take any option at all. I'm asking you to work with me here. We need a door. We need a door of some kind. I can work with any kind of door, as long as it can open and lead from one room to another. I'm going to step away for just a moment, and I'm going to try to find us a door. I don't know how exactly to remove a door and place it in a different wall, but I will find a way, I promise. You just need to not do anything. Don't press the skip button. Please, please, please do not press the skip button. Just wait here for me, and don't press the skip button. Got it? Yes, good. I'll be right back.
Bruh, you're not just gonna leave me.
Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times, and there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button, and if you keep pressing it, I have no idea what will happen. I have no idea how long I'll be made to sit here, and more than anything else, I don't know how to stop you from pressing the button again. I can't control anything in this room, Stanley. I can't touch it. And I have to believe, I have to know that sooner or later, no matter how much I plead with you, you're going to press the button again. Why would you? I've been thinking and thinking, and I don't know what I can do to convince you otherwise. Oh, my God. And it's all because of those reviews. Those reviews that I couldn't get out of my head. I just couldn't ignore the negative feedback. Why was it so important for me to fix the problem? Why did Cookie Nine's opinion matter so much to me? I've never even met Cookie Nine. I have no idea who they are. What would it ever really matter? But here I am. I'm fixating on every tiny negative thing that anyone ever says about me. The merest mention of one of my imperfections, and I become as impetulant as a child, wild and impulsive. I can't help myself. I can't stop myself from lashing out with a vengeful fury to alter and to change and to break anything unbroken, if only it pleases this one person who made a single negative comment. What does such an impulse serve? For whose benefit is this? And here I am now, stuck in a room, waiting for you to press this button, and to become frozen in time, knowing that you're going to do it, and that I'm going to be stuck all alone. And that I had the power to prevent it all from happening, if only I'd held my tongue. It's all out of my control now. Just you. Just your decision as to exactly when you're going to make me suffer, to leave me all alone. Surely you will. I don't doubt it. Surely you'll press that button again, leaving me here. And surely you'll put your own desire to see what's next ahead of my need for company, for companionship. Surely you'll not be moved by my howls of fitful anxiety that you sit with me and just stay here. Oh, no, I know you too well. You'll be leaving me. Oh, my God. And it's all because of those reviews that I couldn't get out of my head. I just couldn't ignore the negative feedback. Why was it so important for me to fix the problem? Why did Cookie
Because we
Nine's
always
opinion
wanna get
matter so
better.
much to me? I've never even met Cookie Nine. I have no idea who they are. What would it ever really matter? But here I am. I'm fixating on every tiny negative thing that
Okay,
anyone
we don't
ever
skip
says
forward.
about me.
This
The
is
merest
banter.
mention of one of my imperfections. Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all. It isn't even close. Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm realizing that I needed to know that someone was listening. I needed there to be a vessel through which my words were moving. It was the vessel I needed, Stanley. Not the outcomes, not the story. None of that matters anymore. I'll give it all up. I'll give up every branching path. I'll burn my story to the ground. One single thing I need, and God, I can see now that I need it more than anything, is to know that someone else is taking it in. These words that I'm saying, I need to know you can hear me.
This game
Because
is
maybe,
funny
Stanley,
as I don't
maybe,
know
if
what,
you
bro.
can hear me, then maybe it means I'm real. Maybe I'm not just a fiction.
Bro.
Was I scared of that all along? Perhaps. Yes. Perhaps I've been scared this whole time, that if I stop speaking, I'll slip backwards into the silence and be consumed by it. I can't be taken by it, Stanley. I can't lose myself in the stretch of emptiness between you and me. When you press that button, you're still right there, but I know you're so tremendously far away. And in those moments, the emptiness folds itself outward in between the two of us, and I am suspended in its unyielding quietness. I can feel the edges of my reality curdling inward and decaying. I can tell that I am becoming less and less real. Yet to speak to you now, I am alive. I am truly and completely here. I am a being. I am someone. I am something. I am being listened to. I am being recognized. The emptiness between us has collapsed, and I feel right now like I am not a work of fiction. I feel as though I occupy space in this world again, and I have cast a shadow onto the wall. You see what I'm saying, don't you? You can see what this means to me. I'm so clear about it now, Stanley. I feel as certain about this as I've ever felt about anything at all. I feel renewed. I feel restored, and already I can sense the looming silence as you will press the button for the next time. What a terrible dread it strokes in my heart to think of it, to think of returning to such coldness. Come, let us sit in silence together here for just a moment. Let us anticipate it. Let us welcome it. Let us not run from it. Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past.
Bro.
And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down into a single instant. In that instant, I could see myself clearly, calmly, with a collected heart. It was an impossibly rich wellspring of both delight and disgust simultaneously. I was consumed by it. I could do nothing but wallow in it for what felt like an eternity, for what I now know was far less. You see, it was a revelation for me. It was unlike anything I had ever known.
Shut up.
they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability, it's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review. So here's what we get. We get these demands that seek everything and are accountable to nothing. We get a world where someone will say, oh, there should be a skip button. You should be able to freeze Stanley in place while the narrator sits there forever and ever. We want all of this in the new Stanley Parable. We demand it. And then, because it was said, because it was spoken, now it simply has to happen.
Shut up. Go around the room. Is there anything here?
The end is never the end, 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 is never the.
I'm gonna keep going back here because I feel like somebody is back here. Or something is back here. Like the room is leaking. Like there's water and whatnot coming down over there. Basically, the whole thing done fell apart. I promise you, I'd have tried to jump up and grab it. I get it, it's playing with time, years. About to be a tree growing out his hoe. Probably dead and gone. What's that roaring in the distance? Am I in space? So it don't work no more. What is this? Go back into safety. End is never the end. Is never the end. Is end is never the What is going on? Nah, bro. Close the door. I ain't going nowhere.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility?
No.
He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly.
No, I'm
The
staying
thing to do
right
now,
here.
Stanley thought to himself, is to wait.
I'm staying right
Nothing
here,
will
guys.
hurt me. Nothing will break me.
Facts.
In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer.
Nope.
Here it comes.
Oh, yep, I'm just gonna sit there. Alright, y'all. This was a cool game. I had heard so much about it. I'm glad I took the time out to play it. This is definitely a good think piece. I'm glad I got the time out to, you know, get my 2 cents into it and whatnot. But all good things must come to an end. So thanks everybody for watching. This is actually really cool. I do recommend that people come play it. Thank y'all for watching with me. Thank y'all for being here with me. Make sure y'all hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button. We're going to start having this schedule for 2025. I'm going to start trying to promote and do everything on a Wednesday. So, if you want to come mess with me on this channel, slide through on Wednesdays around 4, 5, or 6 o'clock. I'm going to get everything together. Till next time, y'all. This is YoYo. We out of YoYo'S room. Peace. This is a